All right, here we go. So EdCamp 3.0 and session 2, we're talking about digital leadership, how to support your admin in digital literacy. So I'm Dan Bennett. I guess we can introduce ourselves first. I'm Dan Bennett. I teach in Southern California at Los Alamitos High School, and I'm a biology teacher, chemistry teacher, and I'm also one of the two ed tech coaches at my school. So I support teachers throughout the high school with integrating technology into their lessons and helping to develop professional development and support to basically anybody associated with the school. So who'd like to go next?
Hello, my name is Tim O'Connor. I'm from Barrington, Illinois, which is a little bit northwest of Chicago. I work at Barrington High School. We're a unit district, District 220. I'm just at the high school. We have about 3,000 students at the high school. This past year was my first year. My position is called the Digital Age Learning Coach. So basically, like you said, Dan, I help teachers effectively use technology in the classroom. This past year, we had a pilot program of 15 teachers and 600 kids that were one-to-one. And next year, all 3,000 kids and 200 staff members will be one-to-one. So uh, that's me.
Well, thanks for joining us, Tim. Janet or Julie, would you like to introduce yourselves? Or it looks like Julie might be muted.
So I can go.
Okay.
My name's Janet. I'm from North Dakota, and I actually serve a region in our state. It's in the northeast corner of the state, so I have 23 school districts
Oh,
that I
wow.
support. I support with technology consultation, support, training, a variety of things. So I guess this topic is one that I had suggested with the Ed Camp, and so I'm very interested in it.
Absolutely. I think supporting admin is huge when it comes to just providing that culture of leadership and moving towards that kind of a culture of digital literacy. So, what have you guys, I guess, been involved with, or what have you done in the past so far to develop that?
I know for me, a big part of it is trying to get leadership to help me to get teachers to kind of break out of their classrooms. You know, we kind of, especially in a high school where you have a lot of people teaching a lot of different subjects, it can be very much people will go back to their classrooms and kind of shut the door, and that can kind of be the culture. And I think that's typical for a lot of high schools. So trying to get with my admin to help kind of lead the way to get teachers to not just reach out within the building, but also things like this, using social media and stuff like that. So we started a district hashtag that pretty much there's only about 3 or 4 of us that use right now, but we're sticking with it. And hopefully it grows over time. We started using some Google communities to get teachers to, especially our pilot program last year, to get them to share lessons and stuff like that, kind of asynchronously throughout the year. So that's really been one of my missions is this past year, within the first year of this job, is really trying to get people to kind of break out of their classrooms and start sharing ideas within the school, and then hopefully, grow their professional learning networks, throughout the world.
Yeah, I think from my vantage point, one of the things I've done is bring a lot of people to, or try to invite a lot of people to ed camps, just the live version, and I definitely tried to invite some people to edcampHome as well. What's interesting is we have a school hashtag, and it's used a lot by students and people within the community. But I think growth within teachers has been a little bit slower. And I don't know if it's because there's a lot of kind of conservative feelings about social media with teachers, and they just don't, they've chosen not to touch it at all, just because there is so much concern about it. So it's an awesome tool, but growing that tool has been a little bit of a challenge.
Sure.
Yeah, this is Julie. Can you guys hear me?
Hi, Julie.
Yep.
Hi,
Yeah, I
Julie.
had muted for a minute. My role is kind of like the sandwich between I'm a teacher leader in a digital program. So my goal is to better our practices and how we're using, and of course we're one-to-one because we're a virtual program. Everybody has a Chromebook. And then, for my administrators, I'm trying to show them what to do, but then I'm also trying to support the teachers. And I find it's kind of, Tim, you probably find this, you're trying to teach your teachers something that will engage their students more and probably is going to be helpful to their practice, but they're already dealing with so much that it's kind of, you get a little pushback from them going, oh my God, something else?
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, but this is cool, this is great, but it's a balance for us.
Yeah, it is. I know one of the things I tried to do this year with my admin and with my teachers is, I think I could have did a better job in my first year, and my second year I'm going to really focus on it, is talk about how it can really help them, like start out with making how it can really actually save you time, make you more efficient, or even using social media, you can find classroom tested ideas that are, someone has already created. You could just take it and, make it your own and build off of what someone else has done, which can save you time in the long run. But people don't always make that connection. So I'm really trying to sell it so how it can benefit them, because one of the hardest things that I find is there's just so much going on during the school year that people just don't have time, and they're always just like, I just don't have time to try something.
They just want me to come in and fix it. It's not working, fix it, and then, but I think we're in kind of a unique role where even though we're in education, our learners are not students. Our learners are other adults. And you've got to kind of balance what the needs of the adult learners. Adult learners want to know why right off the bat, versus student learners are kind of like, I get it, this is my drill, I sit here and learn all day long. But adult learners don't have that automatic compliant buy-in.
Sure.
I guess one of the things that I encourage administrators to do is to first to lurk and learn about it, and then if they want to lead or use it themselves, because I think until they actually lurk on like an ed chat or something like that, it's really hard for them to grasp the concept of what an ed chat actually is. So I encourage lurking quite a bit actually, and sometimes if our administrators just lurk and that's all they do, but then they turn around and they use those resources for staff meetings or whatever, then they're benefiting from that as well, and they're modeling what we would want them to do in their classrooms.
And it's a hard position for an administrator to take a vulnerable position where they might be showing that they don't know as much as somebody necessarily, where they don't know as much as the newest kid on the staff.
Which that can be actually really powerful, if they can show a little vulnerability and show that. I mean, that helps to create that kind of culture of risk-taking, and teachers need to be willing to fail too, in front of their students, because students need to learn how to fail too and learn from those failures. So trying to get admin to realize that, but it is hard because there's egos involved, and there's and just not wanting to show your vulnerability. I mean, so trying to get them to realize that it can help to create the culture that we want to create. It's hard to do though.
Yeah,
that's true. Whenever I'm trying to introduce technology or introduce a new process or something, I always try to ground it in how it will help the student learning. This is best for student learning because that way you have some type of, this isn't, hey, the newest thing I saw when I was, on YouTube at 2 in the morning. There's some pedagogy, there's some research, like you were saying, behind this.
One of the things we talked about in the previous session about digital leadership is supporting the things that the administrators need, because, I mean, oftentimes we're talking about this is great for classroom use, this is really good for students, but what about what they need support with? Like, the example was, Amanda gave a really great example about how she created a Google form for her administrators to use when they're doing teacher evaluations. So they're kind of modeling using digital literacy, a digital tool to perform their job. So if we can support our administrators with those sort of things, they're actually then modeling what we would expect our teachers to do in the classrooms too. So that's kind of powerful.
Yeah, I'm working on right now doing a best practices handbook for our teachers, and my administrator and I are writing it in collaboration. So, the original thought is, oh, start the Word doc and email it, and who emails a Word doc back? So we're kind of breaking our administration into Google Docs, and they're like, well, and I had to kind of explain to them the whole reason this makes more sense. We can do it at the same time, and we can all see. We never have to worry about the latest version. So that's kind of the technology I'm trying to introduce to make their workflow a little better.
I'm kind of in this similar position where I'm getting trying to get all of our department chairs and our principal, any meetings that they have, take shared notes using a Google Doc.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one, and then also get our department chairs to kind of create that culture of sharing, as well as they can, create shared folders within Google Drive, and then teachers can upload assignments and stuff like that, break them up by units, and that can also be an efficient way to help to create kind of that culture of like sharing and learning together.
One of the other things that I guess we're doing is, just like you talked about, is we have for each grade level in our region, we have a shared folder, and in that folder we have common assessments, ICANN statements, meeting agendas, and then like a Google, it's just a directory of their Gmail addresses or their Google Apps for Education account, so that if they want to collaborate and add them to their circles, they can do that. And we also share circles out so that they know who's teaching 4th grade in a neighboring district, because a lot of our schools are very rural, and they might be the only 4th grade teacher in their district. So that is another way to foster that collaboration. But yeah, the other thing that's coming out, and I don't know if you've heard about it, is Google Educator Groups. So you can actually start a Google Educator Group within your state, within your region of your state, or whatever. And basically what you do is just kind of facilitate learning activities and things for education professionals like ourselves.
Yeah, I'm in Michigan, and the nearest one to me is near you, Tim, in Chicago. So
I've been there.
Yeah, I've been looking for one of them to pop up in Michigan. I'm really surprised there isn't one in the whole area.
That's actually, yeah, really surprising. We have one in California, and I was going to say about just within our district, one of the things that we're going to push going into this year is just a community, using the Google communities, kind of like our G+ communities like we're using right now, to just bring people together for different purposes. So yeah, but the Google educator networks are really, really cool. I think there's a lot of potential there.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as backing up, supporting your admin from the teacher level, what's that? Sorry, am I lagging?
Kind of got a little bit choppy there.
Sorry, I'm in the garage. My 5-month-old is asleep in the house, so yeah. So this is my garage. I can show you guys.
Cool.
Yeah, strollers back there. So I was gonna say, supporting your leadership in terms of digital literacy. How do you address that with parents?
We're starting this next year as we go one-to-one. We're going to start. We're doing this at the district level. Like I said, we're in a unit district. We're having parent universities, and it's kind of modeled after school in Boston. I think it's Burlington High School in Boston. They have something similar where it's like once a month we'll have different topics for either how we're using Google Drive in the classroom, or it might be you might have one on Twitter and different social media sites and stuff like that. So some might be like on how students and parents and all of us use social media, but others are like specifically geared towards this is what a one-to-one environment looks like within our classrooms, and this is how our teachers are using this with your kids. So that's the general idea, and we haven't done it, but we haven't done it yet. It's going to start next year, so we'll see how it goes. But I know that just looking at some of the success that, reading about some of the success that Burlington High School has had in Massachusetts, I think it's got a lot of promise.
Yeah, I know that last year we had a huge rollout of devices and a lot of teachers beginning to implement technology, and parents were not always in the loop. And I think sometimes they weren't as engaged as they could have been, and we probably could have had better student success in some circumstances if we had just had a lot more parent engagement. And so I like the idea of like parent universities, parent nights, to not just talk about the social media aspect, because I think a lot of parents are paranoid about that, especially at the high school level, but also the tools and what they actually do. That's
Mhm.
huge.
Yeah.
Since we're a virtual program, sometimes, and I'm spread across 57 school districts in 7 counties, and it's hard to get our people physically to come together. One thing I found is there's a Chrome add-in called Screencastify, and there's lots of screencasting tools we have out there. So what I've been doing is, for their most frequently asked questions, I used to write up something, but I find they tend to watch short videos a lot better, and they need to be short videos that they can access on demand, because if you give them all their questions front-loaded, like I know these are the 10 questions you're going to have, they're not ready for them yet. They're only on question 2, not question 9. So I've been doing a lot of real short Screencastify videos, and then I put them on my Google Apps for Education YouTube account and on my teacher website. And then if they do actually watch through them, they kind of get a step-by-step process. Otherwise, when they ask the question, I just send them the link here. Here's the screencast that has what you're looking for in it. So that's been kind of our outreach to parents, because you would think in a virtual program my parents would be tech savvy. It's really quite the opposite, especially in the middle school. The kids want to do the online stuff, but the parents will look at me and say, I have no idea about this stuff at all. And
Hmm.
so I'm like the type who asks those tough, weird questions. I asked this one parent, I said, if you have no idea and you're scared to death of technology, my God, why did you put your 7th grader on an online program? And the dad looked me dead in the face and said, because it's what's best for her. And I thought, wow, I will never need to ask that question again, because that's the perfect answer. So, I kind of have some courage. I got to have an extra bit of respect for those parents that are, not comfortable with this, but letting their kids go there. And then my job, as their mentor teacher and as the lead teacher in the program, is to create those little bits of information that come in the just in time to help them help their kids.
I had a Twitter. She's a Twitter friend. I've never actually met her in person, but we did a book chat together online on Twitter, and she had kind of like an EdCamp style or an unconference for her, and she teaches primary for her primary students, like a Saturday morning. So the kids and the parents all came to the classroom, and they just kind of went through some things that they would normally do in their classroom with their devices, to kind of just expose the parents to what actually is happening with the devices in the classroom. And I thought, wow, that is a really good idea.
Kind of like a modern day show and tell.
Exactly, like a share fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do. I use a lot of. Oh man, my brain's like completely fried right now. Sorry, it's really hot in here. I use Instagram to show a lot of what's going on, because I can snap a picture and just kind of show that out and share it in different ways. I think you create that digital catalog of kind of what's going on, little bit by little bit by little bit, and then when you want to tell the story, all the pieces are there. So
Oh, you guys, I gotta go. I appreciate you guys taking the time with me, and I'll catch up with you later, okay?
absolutely.
Sorry.
Have a good
Bye.
one.
Nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you too, Tim. Bye.
So what else? I know, Janet, you talked about you started the idea for this session. What other ideas did you have about digital leadership and where that could go in terms of supporting administration?
In the last session, we talked about kind of like the evaluation, and we're talking about all the classroom ideas to help with digital literacy. But what about for administrators? So I asked anybody if they were reading any literature, and we talked about this book is one of the ones that Amanda said she ordered, and then Adam, who
Yeah.
was in the session, had read this book. So it's by Eric Schenegger. He's on Twitter as well, but it's a really great book.
And he was at what was his school again? It's
He is
it's
oh Lordy,
I think it's New
yeah,
Milford.
Yes,
Yeah,
New
New
Milford.
Milford. Yeah, and I think he's actually leaving New Milford in like the next Milford in the next month or two. He's going to I think a larger position in the region.
Okay. And then the other one we talked about was professional capital. And I guess the reason I brought this one up is because Eric actually does a lot of quoting of Michael Fullen, who's a co-author of this book with Andy Hargraves. And this is a really simple read. It's just kind of nice. It puts together how you can build your professional capital, but you have to do that through social capital, which could be your social media, through Google Plus communities, Twitter, a variety of things. Decisional capital, which is what a lot of administrators have to do, and then human capital to kind of bring your staff together and kind of foster that culture and that relationships within your school. So those are some of the things we talked about, just like literature that you can provide them and just ways to support the administration, maybe that you wouldn't necessarily support your teachers with, like I said, helping them with a Google form for their evaluations, or maybe just giving them some tips. So at the beginning of a staff meeting, it's not, oh, there's a pep rally on Friday and we're going to do this on the weekend, there's a school dance, but it's more about them maybe modeling or sharing a tip or something. So if you help them beforehand and they practice it, they would kind of build self-confidence to be able to model what we really want our teachers to do. So that was just kind of some of the things we talked about, but yeah, I
We
guess.
I'm trying to think. It was about 6 weeks ago. I went to a conference at Huntington Beach Unified School District, and one of the books that they're reading as a district is Show Your Work by Austin.
Oh, this one?
You got that one too. Yeah, yeah, and that's kind of the idea of creating a constantly showing your process and your work along the way. And
Mm-hmm.
I could totally see that as just, I mean, it's total support for your administrator because you're telling the story and uh, you're you can feed those pieces essentially or pass those pieces on to your administrator so that they can kind of put together a bigger picture of what's going on at on campus or at the school.
I read that book just a couple of weeks ago. I was in Atlanta for GTA and for ISTE, and so I was
Hmm.
constantly referring back and just thinking about what Austin Kleon wrote in that book. And so, yeah, I think it's a really good read too. It's a simple read, and I think it would be great to bring up conversation and discussion amongst either administrators or teachers. So, yeah, I love that book.
Yeah, it's a really easy read but
Mm-hmm.
just really clear, powerful points.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Um, you were at GTA Atlanta?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to Mountain View at the end of the month. So
Um,
congrats.
I'll actually be at the GeoTools one in Mountain View a couple days before.
Oh, okay.
So,
Yeah, I think Natalie O'Neill will be
yeah.
there. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And she's going to be at your GTA. She
Yes.
actually she actually was a presenter at our Google Summit that we had at the beginning of June. So
She's been all over the place for Google Summits right now.
yeah, she
I'll
kind
be
of
at
works with
I'll be at
her.
GT as well, Dan, and
Oh
later on.
yeah, yeah. Tim, I keep looking at your first name. I didn't even see your last name. Awesome. So it's like a
Cool.
GTA group.
Yeah,
Very
I'm
cool.
super excited about it.
Well,
Yeah.
rest up, you guys, because it's kind of life changing. It's so much fun, and just even today, looking at the edcampHome list of seeing who is on there, and seeing things posted, it was nice to just see some familiar names and faces from people that I met at ISTE, but also some of my cohort members from GTA ATL. So it's just a fabulous time, and it's kind of like the technology is invisible, and you just kind of build really great relationships with the people that you're there with, and it's a blast.
I think just getting into GTA and having that drive and commitment to try for it, I
Hmm.
think is kind of feeds into this conversation in terms of just being a resource to your admin and making those connections and networking so that you have more knowledge base to draw upon.
Well, and maybe that's something that we could do too, is encourage our principals and administrators to apply because in our cohort we really only had one person that was a principal, and he was starting a new school. So it was fascinating to sit with him and have conversation with him about what he was going to do with this new school and the decisions that he had to make about technology. And so yeah, that's a good point, Dan. And I think maybe we should encourage more administrators to apply for GTA.
I've been thinking, encouraging more administrators to blog and kind of put their thoughts out there that way is huge. I know I love when I read someone like the principal from New Milford. I'm drawing a blank on his name, but you know I follow his Eric. I follow his blog, and I love to read his thoughts as an administrator. So I think that's another way that administrators can really kind of lead the way, and we can help them lead the way by bringing up some of those points.
I totally agree. I love administrator blogs. It sounds weird, but just it's interesting to hear their perspective and what they deal with and their ideas, and especially when you follow someone who is an awesome digital leader, you get just some crazy ideas and really see what it looks like further down the road.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, and sometimes I think like as soon as they go from being a teacher to administrator, they're kind of polarized.
Yeah.
And it's like there's a different relationship between teachers and administrators. So sometimes I think they just need like the social support as well that a lot of teachers do when they band together to collaborate.
Mm-hmm. I would totally agree. The I would say that our principal, you guys have totally kind of I guess urged me on now. Our principal would be a great candidate to apply. So thanks for the idea.
Yeah, I mean, I just think there could be more, and it kind of sets the tone for your district when it comes to using technology or preparing kids.
Absolutely. And you have a huge district, by the way, or well, I guess region. Are you regional? Is that what you're considered?
Yeah, so we have like it's called this education cooperative. So there's 8 regions in our state, and actually I'm not the biggest region in our state, and we have one large district that has about 6,500 kids, and the rest of them there's about 6,500 other kids, and so the smallest school is like 42 kids, K-12, and the largest school, like I said, is 6,500. So it's quite a discrepancy in student population, and like I said, we're very rural, so we have to rely on things like social media to not only to build our social capital, but to teach kids how to be global citizens and those sort of things, because it's kind of what they're going to be using in the workforce, and if they go on to vocational education or a 4-year institution or whatever. So
Absolutely. Well, I think we're supposed to end in about a minute. So I think this was a great conversation. Thank you for sharing. It's just one of those categories that I feel like I'm not very strong in, and I felt like by signing up for it, I could just glean as much information and ideas as possible. So I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thanks you guys. I'm so excited for you, and have fun at GTA.
Yeah, Tim, looking forward to seeing you face to face.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Take it easy.
All right,
Thank
guys.
you.
Bye-bye, guys.
Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Bye.